Oh, hello, my wonderful broskis of the bros guys of the Maverick Nation. And I am the Maverick, and, well, welcome to part 8. It's my favorite number. Welcome to part 8 of What If Lancer Was Friends with Vanilla Sands? Yes, welcome to part 8 of What If Lancer Was Friends with Vanilla Sands. And I gotta do something real quick. Well, wouldn't have that been a shame had that gone any worse? Anyways, ah, this may seem utterly disgusting, but no, sorry. Gotta clean you up. Good thing none of that spill or anything. You know, never mind. To you guys, this may seem utterly disgusting, but to me, I've seen worse. Where the hell did the cap go? Oh, shit. Well, I am not going to inspect that any further because of reasons that I don't feel need explaining. Jesus, just go to get a cold drink and I almost break my ass and now I lost the cap. But hey, you guys didn't break my ass and I am sure I will be fine. Well, anyways, whoop, that was getting annoying over there. Never mind. Anyways, now actual time for what if Izuku. Ah, now actual time for what if Lancer were friends with Vanilla Sands Part 8. Yes, I remember. Part 8. Is it underneath? know. Never mind. Anyways, last time, part 7, basically, where the whole education thing was for Lisk. Oh, there it is. There we are. The cap was there all along, you sneaky little devil, you. Ugh. You know, now Lisk is going to have so much to tell her parents. She even made a best friend. So whenever she finally, goes back to the darker world, and her parents are really happy to see that she's okay, she's fine, she's perfectly fine. But they are kind of weirded out because, she's like talking a million miles a minute, and they know their daughter for being rather eccentric and crazy at times. Actually, a lot of the time. Actually, scratch that, most of the time. Eccentric and crazy. Uh, but this seems a little bit overboard, like a little bit cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. And even like Lisk's Auntie Vanilla Chara, or just Auntie Chara, shows up because of all the hubbub, surrounding apparently, her first, you know, big taste of, you know, what's it going to be like? Well, her education, and what Lisk has to say the moment she actually does, decide to breathe. What she has to say is the first thing she says is, "Education is awesome." I didn't know this happened every time you got an education. Ah, yes, this UA thing. Mm, we have to take an entrance exam to get in it, but if we do get in it, there are two different like things. There's like 1A and 1B. 1A is for like the really good students, and 1B is for like the good students but not as good as 1A. So basically, our test scores on the entrance exam, well, basically, how good we do on the entrance exam will determine if we're Class 1A material or if we're Class 1B material, which I'm not going to settle for anything less than the best, so I'm gonna have to make sure that I'm Class 1A material. So, I don't know about you guys, but I'm going to do whatever it takes to train myself even harder than I've ever trained before. I'm going to make sure that I'm the best I can be for the entrance exam. I even asked if I could borrow some, and like Lisk's parents actually noticed that she didn't like put quotations whenever she said borrow, so this actually means that she like freaking Lisk actually is, not stealing from like a library. Like she's actually planning on returning them back whenever she's done. And they're like, well, that's not the thing that our daughter does every day. Like actually mean it. That, just it's being borrowed. Like This is actually pretty new. And they're like, what do they do to our daughter whenever she was getting her, as she says, education? And then Lisk goes on a whole rant and rave on about this. Like she's like, "Oh, you're gonna love this new kid. His name is Izuku Midoriya, and and you know, we're best friends already, and we're both gonna we both applied for UA, but also some other kid applied for UA, but he's not a nice kid. He was bullying one kid and Izuku tried to, you know, stop that from happening, but then Bakugo started bullying him. And so I had to put a stop to that. But Izuku didn't want me to kill that Bakugo guy. I don't know why. Well, I didn't originally know why, but that's whenever Izuku started to explain to me like stuff about like the fact that heroes apparently don't kill. And so if I want to become a hero, I can't kill. Well, apparently that's how it works where I'm getting my education. That's how they work it. And basically, like Lancer and Vanilla Frisk are just looking at each other, and now they're looking at Vanilla Chara, and it's just like Vanilla Chara's just like, "Hey, I'm not the one who controls how the fountains work. I just monitor them so that they don't, nothing bad happens." I just monitor the damn things so nothing bad happens. I don't know how they specifically work. I just do the monitoring so that nothing bad happens. And it's just crazy. And it's just Lisk's action. Lisk actually has to be reminded that she has to breathe. And so basically after, taking a break to breathe, she still has more to tell them. And she's like, please, can I continue to go to the education? And, well, Chara's like, should I tell her that's not what it's called, that that's just what she's getting? And, well, she does sort of know the name of the place on, like, her radar, because, like, the radar can kind of read the name of the place. And so that's pretty much how Chara knows that that's not the name of the place. Plus, she also knows that education is not a place. There's places that you can go to get an education, but an education is not a place. Or at least last time she remembered. Like, if she remembered correctly. And, Chara is just like, Vanilla Chara is just like, should I or should I not? Like, you aren't really being very specific. Like, what should I do? And, well, Lancer's just like, that's great and all. Uh, is there anything else? And Vanilla Frisk is just like, oh dear God, please have there not be anything else to tell us, because they basically got like several thousand earfuls of information about every single like nook and cranny freaking Lisk explored of this education area. And, well, Vanilla Char actually has to explain to her it's not called an education, it's called an education. And, well, an education is not a place. You can go to places that will give you an education and on different things, but an education itself is not a place. She actually has to explain that to Lisk. And Lisk is just like, okay. And basically, like, just freaking, it's like, you know, Vanilla Char's like, well, should I tell her, what the name of the place she went to is? And, like, Liz gives her that look, which is like a look that says, I want to know the actual name of the place. If it's not an education or an edumacation, then what is it? Like, Chara, like, like freaking Lisk herself wants to know what the actual name of the place was, if it's not education or education. And, well, Vanilla Chara, the radar, it basically says, like, MHA. And, well, Chara's like, those seem to be abbreviations. For what I don't know, but for now all I know is that the place is apparently known as MHA. Or the MHA universe. Yeah, little nod there. My Hero Academia universe. MHA universe. And so basically, like, Lancer's like, wait, she, like, traveled universes with that fountain? Like, they used that fountain to get her to travel not just a certain distance, but an entire universe of distance? Like, how many universes is that in order to get to this specific universe? Like, and back? Like, what kind of freaking stuff is the fountain made out of? Because, like, it's a specific fountain that, you know, like, it's a specific thing that, you know, they work around the fountain to get, like, it to send people to different, like, areas. Like, if you want to go to the anti-void, you gotta do a certain thing. If you want to go to, like, the doodle spear, you gotta go to do a certain thing that, and it all has to revolve around the fountain. And, well, Lisk actually picks up some of Deku's analytical and, memory, just all of that skills, like, is able to, like, pick it apart, pick everything apart that she remembers, like, about, like, what exactly was done to teleport her to the My Hero universe. And, well, like, her parents are really freaking surprised. Like, holy shit, she remembers, like, it exactly. We can't even do that. She remembers it to the T. Like, how? And, well, Lisk actually just answers. Like, they weren't expecting an answer, but she just answers with, Izuku Midoriya, my best bud. That's how I, you know, pay attention. Because you're supposed to pay attention to your best buds. You know? They would like to, have people that, actually care about what they do at any given time. Friends look out for friends. And I just so happen to seem to have picked up some of his skill. Thanks. And, well, basically, she's just like, and being like my own type of analytical self, trying to remember everything from my encounters with Izuku, and, well, the way he is, the way he was. It's just like Lancer and, like, Vanilla Frisk are just like, wow. So you were able to become this analytical and this, like, smart, like, like, studying people smart. Like, you basically watched this kid, your friend, this Izuku Midoriya kid, like a hawk, and from that you were able to learn how to do the things that he's able to do the way he's able to do them. You watched him that good? Man, you must really mean it. You must have really meant it whenever you said best friends. And Liska's like, of course, Daddy. And, well, it's just, Lisk, Lisk meant it whenever she said she was gonna train. Like, all of the time that there is, like, spent, like, preparing for, like the preparations for, like, the exam, you know. And for those of you guys that are wondering if Deku actually got, like, Izuku actually got one for all, well, did I mention the sludge villain incident? If I don't mention it, it means it's irrelevant. And that means basic. Yeah. Well, just because, he doesn't get it right now doesn't mean that there couldn't be a moment in the future where he gets it. Like, he could just get it in the future, like later on, like maybe later on, maybe not. It's like a wonder card. Maybe he will, maybe he won't, but he will not get it at that exact moment, which he got in the anime and the manga. And so I'm just gonna say there, he did not get it then, because he probably wouldn't have been nearly as surprised about the whole speed thing that, Lisk showed off. Because, he would have eventually had some understanding of full cowling, or at least he would have been close, I think, to like understanding something about One for All, which would have allowed him to, channel it into his legs and make him go fast. But even like full cowling Izuku would have a hard time with like non-training Lisk. Because Lisk before training, she is so fast. She was so fast that the normal human eye could not track her movements. Because literally, Izuku could not tell that she had moved until the beans were basically spilled. Until that, Izuku couldn't tell that she had moved. And yeah, that amount of speed, even full cowling Deku or Izuku, even full cowling Izuku, like would probably have to be around early stages full cowling, would have a really hard time like keeping up with before training. And yeah, yes, notice I said before training Lisk. But after training Lisk, you know, you know, so yeah. And yes, I said notice. Before training Lisk. But after training Lisk, like post training, is gonna be a whole new beast altogether. I actually plan to tell you guys the training regimen. Well, of course, like, you gotta actually think about the kind of power that Lisk has. Lisk has, like, the determination, and Lisk has all of her different, like, freaking royal darkener abilities, like the spade attacks, like the different versions of those. And one thing that kind of skipped a generation. Lancer doesn't have it, but his father did. He hadn't as he like his father hadn't as a part of an attack. Actually, whenever you fought him in Deltarune, for any of you who have played Deltarune or seen someone play Deltarune, his father had it as part of an attack thing. The freaking almost like freaking scorpion, like that the big like mouth thing in the Chaos King's stomach, and basically he had like the thing like he had in his hands, and he could just whip it out, and it's like, yeah, she has one of those. It's skipped a generation. Lancer doesn't have it, but you know, Lisk actually, you know, right around the time she started training, she started to develop like a nasty habit of overeating. You know, a nasty habit of overeating. And the overeating was all because, well, there is a second stomach that is going to develop. And whenever Lisk tries to get answers for why this is happening, well, you know, Lancer would be the one who would have the answers. And what he would say, well, he wouldn't lie to his daughter, so basically he would tell the truth about everything. And how, basically, from what Lancer knows, because the fact that he can't do it, that power of his father's basically skipped a generation. Because Lancer can't do it, but Lisk can. She has the ability to use the whole the thing, like the I guess you could say long serpent-like, but also spade at the end, and like has the ability to like create like the things that are like tongue comes out of her stomach mouth, like it's the freaking John Carpenter's Thing. Like Jesus Christ, just thinking about that kind of body horrors the hell out of my mind hole. My good frickety god. Anyways, well, the more Lisk would learn about the whole mouth attacks that she can do, like get someone sucked in like Scorpion, like get it in there, and then like up and down, like just like flail it around like up and down, or she could even create variations on the motion, like the amount of movement freedom that she has. Like you know the Chaos King in his fight, he only went up and down with it, but Lisk, considering like the power skipped generation, if we're going by X-Men logic, that means that the amount of variation of like movement and like power scaling, yes, that's going to be a lot more dangerous than the Chaos King's version. Because if that's true and we're going by X-Men logic, where the gene gets stronger whenever it's like passed down, the more it's passed down. Like the amount of freedom she has whenever she uses it, she can go up and down and left and right and like this way, that way, this way. She can go in all directions basically. And she can even like do it in ways to where she can like retract the tongue thing to like get her opponents more closer to her. More closer. Basically get her opponents in close and then just finish them off. So like Scorpion, like, and then boom, like it's the freaking pit from Mortal Kombat. And well, just the mere fact of, you know, all of these different options she's like, these are ones she's actually coming up with on her own because, the analytical mind that she got from, studying Deku, like Izuku Midoriya, you know, pretty much the entire time that she was able to do so, that she was, you know, like, the entire time, like she was studying him, you know, basically working on ways to improve things and working on ways to make different attacks because she already figured out about the stomach, mouth, and like the tongue. And yeah, but she like figured out like not just about the directional and how she can like suck people in because she has that advantage. Like more like flexibility allows her to do more things than just like different directions in which she can throw people around. It also allows her to, you know, like make people closer, like get closer to her instead of her having to get closer to them. So she has that advantage. But she also has the advantage of, being able to like mold, kind of create a mold for like the tongue, like she can like make it like have like spikes or like blades like coming out. So kind of like she could actually kind of make it like, I hate to bring up Steve Irwin, the crocodile hunter, but she could kind of make it like a stingray to where like it's barbed wire like. And well, like she can like basically be really flexible with like her tongue thing. And like she knows that there's even more things she can be flexible with. Like she knows that she can do the triple spade, and she knows she can also do like what she calls the aerial spade, which is basically her just being like having the high ground, Star Wars reference, and throwing them down from there. That's what she calls the aerial spade attack. There's like the triple spade attack, the aerial spade attack. That's what she calls it. And then like regular spade attacks are just throwing spades like randomly. And then there's what she likes to call bullet hell spade attack. And basically, like, if you guys have ever seen the Asgore fight, like, not like his trident attacks, but like the massive amount of fire that is just shot out at you, no mercy. Like, like during the fight, the mercy button has already been destroyed, so technically it is no mercy. But basically, that's what she calls it: bullet hell spade attack. And it's just that. It's like how Asgore has all the waves of fire, but instead of like fireballs, it would all be spades. But the fun thing about the whole bullet hell spade attack is they're spades, but another aspect of the Asgore fight that is in this attack is they're coated in fire magic. Yes, whenever your family, your mother is Frisk and your aunt is Chara, it's just, you know, that it's like freaking the bullet hell from like the Asgore fight, and it's spades instead of like just regular fireballs, but they're like coated in fire. And this just isn't regular fire. Like, you could probably say that Asgore is just using regular fire, but these, like, freaking thing, like, the whole thing with, like, what Lisk wears, if you remember from the episode where I explained her drip, it's mostly, like, different shades of blue. So these flames, it's going to be like Dobby, but like if it was like fused with like the darkeners. It's like if Dobby was a darkener. So it's like blue flame spade bullet hell. Yes, because it's like spade bullet hell, but they're coated in blue flames. And like if someone tries to reflect this attack back at her, she can basically just eat it and then like blast back at them like giant loads of blue fire, or like pull a freaking Raiden like friction of her hands, and like then like pull back and like just unleash a giant freaking blue fireball. So yeah, basically, if you were to reflect this back at her, like the blue fire freaking spade attack, basically she could just eat it and either blast it back at you, or like channel all of like the attack that she ate into like the arms, and the arms would go all the way to the hands, and then just the and so yes. Where was I? Oh, that's right. The whole thing about, yeah, the training. And if you're wondering about any other powers that I might want to give Lisk, well, Lisk has the ability to, like, summon, I guess the best way to call it is determination magic knives, but instead of being, like, norm, I, I guess that they would be freaking purple, like, because like her main motif is blue, but the determination soul is red, so they would be a purple attack. Because if you anybody knows, if you mix red and blue together, it makes purple. I mean, just ask Butter and Jace, Butter and Juice, purple comet attack. Oh yes, oh yes indeed. And yeah, well, just creating the whole thing like freaking magic, like the determination magic, since her main motif is blue, but the determination soul is red, so the knives would usually be red. If you mix blue and red together, that makes purple, so the knives would be purple whenever they were summoned. And she can indeed summon Lancer Blasters, but she can't summon as many as her papa can. And even whenever it comes to the, bullet hell spade attack, that can exhaust her really fast. Like, since it's bullet hell, there's like so many coming out at once. It's going to be a little bit taxing, on the body. Soul, mind, emotions, like everything. It's going to be really taxing. Like if she uses it too much. And she can't make that many Lancer Blasters. Not just because of how taxing they are to create, like specifically, but also because, well, Like, I guess, like, I should explain it like how, like, they explain, like, Shadow Clone no Jutsu and Naruto. Like, not really Shadow Clone no Jutsu, but, like, the concept of chakra in general. Like, the more you have of it, like, the harder it is going to be to control, but instead, like, instead of that, it's like, she doesn't have enough to summon, you know, all that many. Like, she would need more magic in order to summon more blasters. Like, there's also the control involved in order to actually get them to fire, but, first you actually have to summon them, like, as many. And in order for that to be a thing, you have to have enough magic to create all of them and have them all be fully formed, like Lancer blasters. And, well, yeah, there's that. And if you're wondering about, like, what about other types of attacks, like, we're all pretty sure that, with all the bones and blue souling and everything else that Vanilla has showed off in the past, whenever, Vanilla and, Lancer were still together, still around each other, that Lancer would probably, get into the study of skeleton magic, because that's, Vanilla's thing. You know, that was one of his many things, skeleton magic. And he would also get into the study of magical weapons, because, the freaking Gets to Get Tense show that, like, Vanilla was able to use to obliterate the entire castle along with the king and anyone who was there at the time. Yes, that was something, wasn't it? So yeah, that would be something that, you know, Lancer would have studied up on, like skeleton magic, just skeleton magic in general, so nothing too specific, like not just Blue Soul or not just Bones or not just Blasters, just like all skeleton magic in general, like the general like gist of skeleton magic. Plus some fire magic because, Gaster, apparently, a guy who in most universes is has some relation to the Sanses. So like, there would be some want to learn about how to handle at least some of fire magic. And, he's basically, you know, Lancer would also have some understanding of fire magic. Because, Gaster did, and in most alternate universes, Gaster has some connection to, like, sands and papyrus. And even though Vanilla didn't have a papyrus, or at least a natural one, before, that one was done away with by the kid. You know, at least there was some understanding of fire magic, and so, Vanilla wouldn't write that off. Or at least what I mean, Lancer wouldn't write that off because, there, like, some skeletons did have some understanding of fire magic, so that was also a thing. And it could also help with the blasters, too, because Lancer blasters are kind of a variation of Gaster blasters. So, to help at all possible with anything to do with those, And he's even the one who creates them, so, like, he's the one responsible for the first ever Lancer Blaster, so if he needs help by, like, learning a different type of magic than just regular skeleton magic, I mean, that shows that these things are not meant to be trifled with. And, like, the lasers, like, the color of the lasers that the Lancer Blasters fire is the same color as the fountain, the fountain, like, like the geyser, the fountain, like, comes out of, like, the darker cavern. Like, basically, it's the color of the fountain. Like, whenever you see the fountain in the flashback, like, it's all purplish and blackish, and, that color. That's the color of the lasers that the Lancer Blasters fire. And, like, if you charge it up enough, there can be some blue in there, but it's mostly, like, some dark purples and even darker blacks. And, like, maybe some after shadows of certain types of gray. And, it's just Lancer, you know, it's just Lancer have learning so, like, how, have, learned so much from, like, the fact that he wanted to know more than just what he knew whenever Vanilla was around. you know, it would give some room for Lisk to also learn this stuff. Because, you know, as much as Lancer grinded it into his mind, soul, body, spirit, like, and just overall being who he was, like, just how much he grinded it into himself, even though, like, it was probably something nowhere near natural to himself. But, he made it natural enough to where he could do it. Because, that's just what he did. And, well, Lisk, knowing about the fact that, being an offspring of him, being his daughter, she could probably do it too if she tried hard enough. And so, the whole entire training, there's going to be some stamina training, there's going to be some strategy, because, basically, not to make a shitty reference that too shitty, but Lisk is mostly off the card whenever it comes to strategy. So there would be some strategy training, there would be stamina training so that she didn't, roast herself whenever she tried to fire off a couple Lancer blasters, or, go for, oh, what the frick, no, I don't want you here. Go off of my screen. I don't care. Get off of my screen. Oh, come, get off of my screen. I don't want you here. I don't care about the stupid update running in the background. I don't give a shit. And anyways, well, there would be stamina training so that she wouldn't automatically crap out after running through, like, several Lancer blasters, or, like, the thing that she calls the bullet hell, you know, spade attack. Yeah, that's what she calls it. Bullet hell spade attack. Like, after shooting that off a couple times, like a couple waves of that, or, going through a couple Lancer blasters, you know, in order to not, like, tire herself, like, out automatically, she would have to go through some intense stamina training. and, intense strategy training for, if she wanted to actually be able to win fights that would actually be serious fights, like maybe a fight against a villain, or like a fight against like a very well trained student, like possibly a future successor to All Might, because, Lisk believes that Izuku would probably be the one that would, be most likely to be All Might's successor. And so she's thinking, if I ever go up against Izuku, whenever he's like mastering all of his powers and shit, well, she's thinking like way ahead of time. Like she knows that that hasn't happened yet, but she's pretty sure that it will, and so she wants to be prepared for when it does happen, and whenever his powers do start to begin to develop, because she's pretty sure that like he's going to be the one that All Might picks to be his successor to his quirk. And well, so strategy training would be really a really good help for her, is what she's thinking, as well as the stamina training. And also, she's thinking she needs to be able to mix it up, like if it ever got to where she had to be in a hand to hand fight kind of combat situation. She needs to have, you know, the ability to improvise should, like, her original style of fighting, even her original style of, like, original hand to hand fighting, wasn't doing it for her. She needs to be able to mix it up and actually be able to improvise and, you know, do what needs to be done. And, get into her opponent's head before they're able to get into hers. And, also, like, stealth is important to her. She's like, stealth is important, and, so, like, there's strength and there's stealth. So she's got a lot on her mind, and she is gonna be training very, very extensive amount of training. That is what she's going to be going through, and it's all going to be on her word. She's going to be the one who's going to want to have herself be put through this, because she's not going to accept second best. She's going to get into not only UA but Class 1A, and she is going to, she just has it in her mind. She's going to, squash this whole entrance exam. She's gonna squash it. But Lisk is also where she has to be sharp on her mind. And so, she does some of that too, even though she finds it really boring. And not for the reasons you might think. She's not a slouch. She finds it boring because she's already extremely smart as it is. Like, and I'm not kidding, she is actually very smart. You know, like, very, like basically Nesu levels already. Like, she's getting close to Nesu levels by the time she actually figures out about the entrance exam. By the time she has actually sent to, get the education, she's already getting close to Nesu levels of intelligence. And so that's why she knew and how she knew what she needed to do in order to, you know, basically, yeah, she knows that there's got to be more to this than just a written exam, a written part to it. There's got to be more, so that's why she's doing so much physical training, even some meditation. Actually, a lot of meditation to keep herself level and not go insane. Some would say that she has already, but that's just them. At least that's what Lisk is thinking in her head. You know, some people be like that. And, well, you know, considering she's already approaching Nesu levels of intelligence, and, well, you know, whenever it comes to the intelligence that she'll have to have for, like, passing the written portion, and basically the only thing she has left to worry about is the physical part, which she's pretty sure that they're going to have a physical part to it. You know, she decides like, okay, let's do this already. Like, there's nothing really I need to worry about too much. Improving is good, but you have to know like the right areas to improve in and when to improve on them. Like I said, very smart for her age. Very, very smart. And so, yeah. But just because she's smart doesn't mean she ain't gonna be basically like mini me whenever it comes to her dad. Like, literally, be strolling in, you know? And just strolling in being, herself. You know, she's gonna be herself no matter what. She ain't gonna let anyone boss her around either. You know, she's the princess here, of the Darkener world. So, yeah. That's that. Anyways, Alan's the analysis because there's actually Maverick is LUT out of here. Yeah, boys. Bye, because this part is over. You get it, you get it.